For my fourth SIS Alumni talk, I sat down with Minori Yoshida, class of 2015. Minori is currently a student working on her Doctor of Pharmacy at Rutgers in New Jersey after graduating from Barnard College. Hope you enjoy.
During my time here at SIS, I worked at Bravo Pharmacy, and that really gave me the exposure to pharmacy, which is now the career that I am pursuing. So after I graduated from SIS, I went and completed my undergraduate degree at Barnard College of Columbia University. During my time there, I majored in neuroscience, but initially I actually went in for chemistry, realized hated it, so changed my mind and was like, okay, let me find something that fits pharmacy still. So ended up in neuroscience, but I did get my minor in chemistry because I was like, oh, maybe this will make me more competitive for pharmacy school. And while I was in my undergraduate studies, I also worked at a pharmacy so that I could just get my foot in the door. And I also completed senior research thesis for my neuroscience degree. So that was super helpful also to make myself more competitive for applying to pharmacy school. And after I was done with my undergraduate career, I was able to transfer into the pharmacy program at Rutgers. So that's in New Jersey, totally different. I feel like I just changed my surrounding environment so much. I went from small island to large city island, and then I went to suburban New Jersey. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I've completed 4 years of undergraduate studies, and then now I'm finishing up my second year of graduate school, and I basically have 2 more years after, and then afterwards I can get my pharmacy doctorate. I definitely feel like at my time we only had certain APs that we were required to take. I don't even think it was an option. So it was just okay, I'm taking history and stuff, but I'm actually going for sciences. It would have been nice to have an AP science thing or whatever, or even to know that I could take AP classes elsewhere, even just basic college science courses. I felt so behind. One lecture took me maybe a week to understand. And then it was just okay, I would go to office hours and stuff, and it was just okay, now I understand how to do things, but I had wished that I had a better foundation in that aspect. I think I created my resume and thought that it was the coolest thing ever, and then I brought it to my career development center when I was a freshman, and the advisor that was looking at it was like, what is this? I have never seen that before. And then I was just like, oh, that's not what it's supposed to look like. And I wish that, we had more professional development resources, or even just a week to talk about how to build a nice resume, how to make a CV, what's a cover letter, how do you ask for references and stuff like that. Because that's going to be so important for you for college. Even applying for college, you're going to ask people to write reference letters for you and stuff. And I kind of was just oh, right next door. Let me just be hi, can you write a reference letter for me? But, in the real world, you can't do that. Playing volleyball it's always a good memory for me to have. Yeah, so for me personally, I just felt I wanted to break out of my comfort zone, but I guess that's just the type of person that I am. So I viewed New York City as the greatest challenge ever. Just small girl coming from a small island, going to a really big urban island, I guess. And so it's when I got there, I was just really excited. I was like a sponge, and I was ready to absorb everything. Which was the best thing that happened for me personally, because I felt I was given the freedom and space to just kind of do whatever I want to do and not have to worry about being judged or anything like that. And it was also really nice because I was just surrounded by people doing so many different things that I was just that's so cool. Like, I've never heard of that before. Like, I want you to talk to me more about it. So the transition for me was great. It was a lot smoother than I thought it would be, but I think it was more just because I was super excited about it. I think if you were like kind of pushed to go to New York, maybe you got into a school and you're like, oh, like this has the best financial aid package for me. Maybe you won't have as easy of a time as I did because I was super excited and I was like eager to get out and just like feel like one in the thousands of people or whatever that was walking around. Food, low cost of living is nice. My mom's food is always the best. But I definitely will say, like, the people here are really nice. Also, another thing that was like a huge shock for me was just like, you know, what to do when you're faced with options. In Saipan, I think a lot of times people just kind of present everything to you and you don't really have to do much. It's just kind of like, all right, it's handed to you. You're all set. But, you know, when you go out to the big world, you're going to be provided with a lot of obstacles as well as a lot of options and challenges, and you're going to be on your own, basically. And when you are at that point, it's like, what do I do? I think people should also start to think about, like, what do they really want to do? I know that a lot of times when I was like thinking about college and stuff, I was always told like, you have time, you have time. You don't have time. You have no time at all. If you were like me and you were on like some sort of a scholarship, awesome. You have a little bit of time. But if you are not on scholarship at all, you don't have time. Like you are accruing debt, and those are things that you have to think about right after you graduate. And I don't think people understand that when they're in high school, but I really think they should. Because in retrospect, I was just like, okay, like I wish I knew everything right from the get-go. Like, you know, imagine I'm accruing like 8 years-ish of like, you know, some sort of like college debt, whereas I could have only had to accrue 6 years. Something as, you know, small or big as that could have made a really big difference.